Fis go maigh bhacharstan agus báilteadh gna chóric seo son Seachdain na Gaelic Òg. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this online launch of Seachdain na Gaelic. Mis táisic sin go cearst, gus bí fisacah sam go dáchanach agus an grúbú seo, agus hafáilte bhlá rá gach Gael agus Galf nar misc. So just before we get started, this broadcast will be a mixture of Gaelic and English, and I'd love to take the opportunity to welcome everyone, whether you're a fluent or native Gaelic speaker, learner, or don't speak the language at all. Smisha joy Dunlop, Stiùiriche Seachdain agus apad go réit tlach a bhí nar cuideach gus fis oilseach min Seachdain sin chiad Seachdain official son na Gaelic. Agus cuideach an Còmhradh Gael gus brín rí trúr go bhfuil buai nachbig súl na Gaelic san láhan an Dihaoine. So my name is Joy Dunlop and I'm the director of Seachdain na Gaelic, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you today to officially launch the week and also to have the opportunity to talk to three hugely inspiring guests, each one of them with a huge impact on the Gaelic world, and I'd like to look at their role in that, but also the role of Gaelic in their lives. Now, before I get to them, I would like to explain a wee bit more about what exactly Seachdain na Gaelic is. Now, Seachdain na Gaelic, or World Gaelic Week, is the first ever official week held in Scotland son Canon agus Cultúr na Gaelic of Rosnachig to promote and celebrate the Gaelic language. You might have heard about Seachdain na Gaeilge in Ireland or Mias na Gael in Cape Breton. Similar to both of these initiatives, a mixture of community initiatives and official events. But most importantly, it is the opportunity for both Gaelic speakers and those without the language to take part and get involved in a way that suits them, both here in Scotland and further afield. Agus go deireadh hasíne sons can gafdúine shallow Gaelic nan Dihaoine. Stocha go bhfuil do chhlaicin lán Gaelic agus go bhfuil go cleachcha go bhhaithil na de bheithe oprach na fuse stay. Maybe you're just learning and the phrases ha bicken Gaelic acum, no ha mi giúnsach Gaelic apply to you. Or perhaps you have no Gaelic whatsoever, but are curious to find out a wee bit more. Maar a horse min betrea is a chárig seo bríní mi túr héad an bocach an canon dúlchas agus cultúr na Gaelic. Agus cloini sin bican min Jane Hain agus na ha a Gaelic a cialvacha gaimsan. I genuinely don't think I could pick a more inspirational group of guests to talk about Gaelic and their experiences, and I'd love to introduce them to you now. Ha charit me gyfel dúine bio an súlt na Gaelic nach Agnes Rennie. Che héad a béthe chuirseachad a brosnachig agus an nearstachig a chaning. Rúcaig agus thugagé an lois agus halháin huiche se éiche go bhfuil a Gaelic ag cria a choirsneach. Now, Agnes may have retired recently from her post as manager of Gaelic publishing powerhouse Achgar, but do not be fooled. There's not a chance that she is slowing down at all, as she was recently announced as the Gaelic Ambassador of the Year. This is an award that's supported by the Scottish Government to recognise and celebrate special contributions to Gaelic language and culture. Na cuideach agus nar cuideach ha Shona Nic'Illeinnein Ceannard Bòrd na Gaelic agus sin fríomh bhuiin foplach an an alpa rí sé bhfuil an nure record na Gaelic a thuirste first. And not only does Shona herself have a long history of involvement in Gaelic development, she, like myself, is a Gaelic learner and is passionate about developing opportunities both for the language and for learners and ensuring that Gaelic is something that we can all enjoy. Chai Seachdain na Gaelic a bhuineachadh tronske ma taiche ag Bòrd na Gaelic agus chanúringear a ra chotrich agus chanúringear a ra trich gilior chotangal sa haishin gaibh san shin. And finally, we have the newly named Young Gaelic Ambassador of the Year, Kirsty Garster. Rúcaig agus thugad Kirsty an Griannic agus thuairí a cuideachí ag Scóil Gaelic Lascú agus an Northern Scoil Gaelic. A proud urban Gael, Kirsty combines her love of the language with her multidisciplinary artistic skills agus ha an drasta a gopa ga MG alpa. Fes go mag éifli chéile agus mar bhar me gra apar go réit tlach gehaun a bhí an cuideach trúd a ha Gianamh an ddíchal gus Gaelic a bhrosnachig agus an nearstachig nan béthe héin. Shona an byrigá tín hu gyfan toisiach, ask you first, Shona, chai Seachdain na Gaelic bhúneachadh le Bors na Gaelic, agus heiscebhfuil Bors na Gaelic an sas an an imig sure sa project. Ach, Curson ha immer yin lihich kudramach an draste an an alpe.
A mis muineachadh ha sin cúd fáilte imirte me seo a ha brosnathe gúine gus a bhí clachcaigh na canan. And in dóid sin a príomh teachgarach is a phlean náisiúnta son na Gaelic, gon bíag barach dúine a clachcaigh Gaelic níos tríocha an an barach chuíochan. Agus ha rútan mar seo spórsal, Haid tors corm gan a hula dúine han jelle go differ mar a húst tú héin ag an toiseach a bhfuil Gaelic ar a bheacha bh hús, bhfuil fuach an Choirstaidh tradiisiúnta, bhfuil giúnsach na Gaelic, bhfuil an fulam Gaelic, han jelle go differ. Bí cormin ann son a bhí corach ho cútramach sa ha Gaelic, agus a bhí ga clachach an an dóin a ha frecharst ar dúine it héin seach cútcan a gra ó bechor seo bhí tachars nó bechor sin. So mis muineach leis sin bí sin a tors seala cúteach ho itar dhéalachte a ha hula dúine ha sas, ag a bhfuil Gaelic nó ha dúnsach na Gaelic, bí a sealtain ho fat sa farsan a ha chanan an canan a mis muineach or dúine hel haris ha nándír a chanan alaba. Agus cúteach ha mis muineach go songarite, ha sin ula ar a bhí tro aimean ha gama dúlanach, ach bheit sin a fechcan mar a bheit go songarite ar leine, bheit a Gaelic a chrúacha Choirstaidh agus tors mesneach, tors tócail súnt, tócail cealichan, ag aimean far a roisin caran gama isolated. So an an imidói, ha immersion mar seo heit scanial or heit frecharst ar a chula dúine ha mis muineachach, agus ha sin gama útramach.
Ha, Gajerav. And if there was a silver lining about lockdown and the COVID pandemic, it was actually that the online community felt so strong, and the Clergy initiative that Bors na Gaelic has been running now for a while actually really came into its own with usage online. I mean, we saw that when we tried to run the very, very informal La Bors na Gaelic or Say Gaelic Phrase Day, which just took off throughout the world, people recording wee videos and putting it online of them saying a phrase that they enjoyed. And from something so small came the idea for Seachdain na Gaelic. Did you see from Bors na Gaelic's side, this is quite a common pattern actually, that although people couldn't hold events in person, that the online side of it all really, really took off and created its own community?
Hugely. I think there's a number of different aspects. There's been the céilís and the events sort of around music, song, poetry as well. So not just the music, but also the other arts that brought people together. The other thing, which of course has blown everybody away, was the growth in online learning, particularly through Duolingo. Which I think, it was hugely positive anyway. And then I think so many people engaged with it even more during lockdown, and it gave a real purpose to people's days in many cases, and that kind of trying to make sure you follow on one day after the other. So I think it's had a real impact in lots of different ways. And the other thing, which we did along with Storlin and Fishing and Gale and Còmhradh na Gaelic, was about trying to coordinate resources for families whose children were in Gaelic medium through the lockdown, so that they had access to online resources to support their Gaelic learning and their Gaelic education. And there was others, Levis Shinley Linda, but lots of different aspects, and using Clachgy as the kind of the badge for that, and providing support for the families who have chosen Gaelic medium education. So yeah, whole range of different things happening, Joy.
And so much amazing work going out there. Agnes, a brínear Clachgy, rúcaigh agus hócaigh dúsa an Lewis, agus bhá chaforstanach gon deach do hócail an Choirstaidh Gaelic. Stáchanach stáchanach tuicdúine ag a bhfuil Gaelic for hús, go bhfuil immerst immer seo a buntain ruasa, leis go a rut nátarach a haun, a bhí ga Clachgy go bhaichail. Ach, Cymar haws y feichgyn gynnurin dogwnia I Gaelic fo hws cwdiach a fi cwrfi immerstyn yn George sio.
Is je Kirsty nog als een joy. Ham is meer ook wel toos gaan in jiding is rot de hou gra. Toch zat maar je rot de handen kan en de hou klachtig genateroch. Is een dag te we mooi een dag is een gaaiers nog dat je me gelost go ieder woord. Ha nodig wist me nog een veel meer rot te kennen waar ook gegaan. Is zo'n kormhard gucht in klachtigchen gamal een aarte. Ach Ham is mi ook griffid in de kuus kujok, le hultenjak in bio aan de koersnokken, hakke ma misketje in ju. Agus gaan je jiffer velu aan de kanatuel aan lois, na velu aan de chirig, na velu ilsait aan de mean glasgu, ha hultenjak in, daar koerstige, le napenen, agus carrigen, ha hin immerkultur. Agus am smekur mar schon bachar gan vi kumatrish gaan an tilig tíach gebrin et geil is geile hasin gaan an tíach gebrin a lappenige sasselnige hasin waar ma was ook verder is de borgu tíach hulle seit is seule skarig an maar gut is me klake an de du is geld hulle seit is een notion en je sin de seule is sin bios mar schon je ha mis menig ook geweld deine tik sin as je het allemaal garotaking maar geil a ha prísol gain hín ach an nóirsin cimar is orgain teanú céideoch go bhfuil síchin a tachart far an nóir gan a cart núrs gan an abal an úr a ha an cuairstón jaringfa gan sin a hiic sin fiús go ach begat na clacach agus sin man am is a cuatris gyrru corm a vis yn hiach gwyn a sio am sio gyrru idea hawn bia eintje nog de man gopri is a chamis mi nog gemia eintje nog garidef gehar just je feiken man toch man gotein in horm goal paarst is wel gehar jamis mi la na happerton fem me gra kun me hin dames mi kun me rot in een art lage en de gon we man is suale woord de gapperton wa show wat chinemach a fot ik me ga nu le seit na me en social te gebollat ma hou goal ma hou ga jenting idir hou feiken de deun jelle januf agus gaan jullie sonne weer dag al edig
Gegéint, agus ik mi hugad a chuirsta, hais go bhfuil lusa a chléachcaig na míon an sóisialta gomór son a gáalacha chléachcaig agus deach mar far siad a bheithe láichail. Díoch a chudraach sása a ferachcing haid goháirí a géal ága a bhí fiachchan dhís na gríomh úra seo a chléachcaig.
Ha mis mention go Britigan uavasach Eintneoch agus exciting a haun a bhí chléachach na mian an social there son Gaelic a chléachach scas chaime se hogal an Scoil Gaelic so ba me se fast suas va tád festrich a gacum ma dhéin an echtri acum agus an echtri Gaelic agus a hulacalja sin agus va mi I was interested in Gaelic culture and history ach an uair sin ha an choramachine mar luch Gaelic og a bhí gra okay se seo an echtri a hakinge agus se seodí ha tacharste nise agus suine na skealach gan akin hín a bhí a bhí gan skulach gan hula dunne agus sé dúch chom mír fadeocha ham.
Check it out. And anybody that wasn't at the Dihaoine Gaelic or the Scottish Gaelic Awards on Tuesday night, you might have missed it. Kirsty is our new our Young Gaelic Ambassador. And what did that feel like? Because I know that you didn't know it was happening. They hadn't told you anything, and your shock was it was lovely to see.
So I knew that I was nominated, and when I got the email through to say that I was nominated, I was out for lunch with my pal and I saw the email and I was like, Holly, wait a minute. Yes. Fami canteen, sin chonio noch, sin cho exciting. I guess, va mo vam, I guess maher, I guess my boyfriend, Hannah Giertsen, Erin Oiche, I guess, va sinne jirach is mention, she chorum so hinchino kahasho, it'll be a good night, it'll be a good time. We're getting a free dinner, we'll go for a wee drink afterwards. You know, fashin Diúiriche munching get Chisóiriche vegan. I guess a Norsen huirst a boyfriend acum, huirst Arthur. Nur a bhaid het she is an lista agus gan nominees eile ans son in category acumsa. Vice munching, she's getting that. Dúirst a cáil ramsa. I guess a Norsen, háisiche a bhí filmach a reaction acum agus a Norsen nur a huirst usa joy nur huirst tú minim. Va mi túntaim an cuairt agus na húlan acum mar saucers. So, by Giro Chóneánach, I guess, had tor congratulations at a vichin.
Oh,
I guess tor akalovin is mar senators tired of be overwhelming. Daniel.
Oh, well, meld er eich gyrieis, agus ha chosnog gyda feichin, gyda fafol dy seach, gyda cielfach yr rwyt ag gwycht, agus gyda chlisgwys y fad, agus fe siet dwi'n fawr snog eichin, gyda cwrlwch as y sin, agus as y chanan, agus gyda gael mar wylwch.
Vac at either. Va shed honor uafasach morahan. Va Gaelic acumsa uafasach rusty. Gus in Roshin an sa glasig, really. I guess hoshi clacag, Duolingo, I guess hulakal jashen, ba mis munchin ha mesha famocking show a fine na shard and asha. I guess hoshi me jira hijanu na captions acum Instagram on Gaelic, I guess if janu video in Becca and Shits and Shaw on Gaelic, I guess in Norshin, if he janu is more Geniella Yakum if he clacker Gaelic, I guess ha hulakal jira hair snowballer on a shin.
I guess you're putting Kudramach a hacket. There are probably lots of people watching this and maybe thinking, my Gaelic's not good enough. And you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to make a mistake, particularly if you're a learner or if you're a rusty speaker. How important is it, Shona, though, that you just battle on through it and, clerking your Kylie, it is, speak it or use it or lose it.
Well, of course, it's hugely important. And I think we all, I've learned Gaelic mostly as an adult. We all worry about making mistakes, but invariably people are really kind. That's the other thing. They want you to succeed. They can see that you want to develop your skills. And of course, we need more people speaking Gaelic. That's the kind of the whole crux of the matter is we need more people to be speaking Gaelic and to be speaking it more often. So mistakes, I know as you would say, it's better to speak it. And actually, the only way you will improve is by using it. Yeah. So the theory goes in your head, oh, well, I need to get it right. But actually, the only way you get it right or better is by actually using the language. And Kirsty mentioned about working with the language every day. Many years ago, I had a job as a Gaelic development officer, and my Gaelic wasn't great, but I knew that I couldn't phone up somebody or go to a meeting with somebody who had Gaelic and speak English to them. And during the time I had that job, my Gaelic skills really, really came on. And then when I stopped working in Gaelic, they went back again. So it is possibly not so much if you've grown up with Gaelic, from the home. But as a learner, it depends on your usage. And the more you use it, the better you get. And if you're not using it, it does kind of ebb away. So hugely important because what we need is more Gaelic speakers.
Mm-hmm. And it's finding people, particularly native speakers, who have this beautiful language and set of skills that they don't even understand they have, and sticking to them. I guess some should have I can say ik vod o hiún gydich. Charo mi dyn of that a geisdiach. Agus fi clein sin Agnes a bddir. Agus abys byg dwrs mi sin dia. Gyda tlach y fawn. Fa mi mochal gahari tron y wasig nach mi fi brin ni dunia bio. Chafod gyda mi, ik yn teilum hyn fat na hwnia. Agus gyda mi Gro mi ferach gyn gro mi fas lachbach, agus nach gro mi chearst chasiúlachs fa córacham, ach fi géisteach di dúne, ikke fel galig fa hús, hagad a visneach agus ha giúnsach ag tún dain, because it's a show, ach gútsa Agnes, lís gorá galig agad. A vilu ferach gyn a nishes dócha gyfil gicht agad. Stóch nach dúnile.
Ha mis smúkur mi an sig forste noch. Gun drúkig mi, ek naum, ek na drúkig mi a hu ganan. Ha mi ken jo ha cholle ginne loch a fein rotegin, somrich gan ginne loch ach geheen. Ach, ha me kritsin an a nooi, wat daum na me wehe far rumme mogel, rotegin kolochrische rote haugra, ha joy. Edrych am yn amol noch, ar ymwys di efn ys mewn o'ch gyda gaelig, mae'r rwtig yn facod ac yn fydrygol mae un, ffim mi gyda, geddi sŵs, fa mi anna coer snoc, fa rw, ma'n hwrt mi chi anna, chwlwyd dynnu fatio mi gyda, chwlwyd dynnu sy'n dach, chwlwyd dynnu fwynnu go. Go iddo fawr chwlwyd dynnu do'r sgol gol ar ym, charwagyn iach y gaelig, si gaelig gyda mi gyda. Charo radio gaelig iawn, charo television gaelig iawn, charo pepa neo gaelig iawn, san oedd egin falior gaelig iawn. Ach, si gaelig si gaelig efo, si'n hanan gymylys gyda fa, ti mi lor, es y chwlw doi. So nôrs yn cham gan doleg, agos, ffim mi gra, man y facilior y gianif yn nôrs yn, gome gaelig mar chwsbath, es kan nog dat er met kusmeunjoch ook maar een. She rot tough als je naadjoch ook nog hè. Ach, she niet in je hou. She niet in je hou. Agus, hoort er een margaride. Schar een bulloch keintjoch, de van bedoel janu. Va jegul am smaid genjaning tjukisk. Ach, va visamination nach be rotte van de tjukisk van me bulloch keintjoch maar een. Ach, sé hagad at sa fa mes yn dole, hosich mi gwal barogu an y politics na gaelig. Agus fa sio ma naum y fad yn yl y tosioch yn y gymryd on gan a trefynad yn radio ylysait y farog. Fa sa tosioch yn y brin y mygan radio fawn y chwyd edrych VHS service. Yn yl sy'n dyn ffiws gwedd am brin y niw. Ac fa sio to hiel o'ch y mygan y fawn nach clonig at dan y chiriga mae'r ysyn plat. Agus, was je niet met wat goed in het chire gebring Alex. Waarom crazy? Zo kan je maar wel. Van mij is komen keltje aan de bruins. Gusje je dooi bussegel she is a glasgoed. Gusje je cashmok. She is roig Queen Margaret Drive. Agus va Sarle Maclennan na heste vaart het ballen. Het brien guru. Agus. Va chwlwyd yn ac yn gyd o'ch ar bros noch ag. So eisiau mi smeniwch ag mae yen rwta fa sio, so eisiau mi smeniwch ag mae yen. Gyd o'ch na doen is roos y clac ag chan an stefau giel o'ch ag o hins. Chan i tjygwys y bi, gwysg sy'n stratak. Na my goi smeniwch ag hyn agos an tratak sy'n am y cryd sy'n byg na môrs man a hai edrych fiawn chwn laniw. Sy'n narwyd am y cryd sy'n na chi môr na my fehe sy'n edrych ag chlanien ac yn. Agus, ha sy'n i fydd o'ch yn y dios, fa sy'n i fydd o'ch yn y dios, ac yn y dios an ni'n ac yn. Agus, gada ha ticsio ha gyda gaelig, ticsio gyda chwlw ffacol, ach ha sy'n i coloch rhywun o'ch cwbl yle, cha doch sy'n iolas edrych hele, trofi brin i gaelig, agus chan sy'n i brin gaelig rych hele. Agus mor sôn sé fiol, facain sa hacain i ddiaf. Ach, be min honi prosjer Frank en ja na chlonitjes mor je so motion gra genda jeshin genda ja kogunu gregali ke va kovia ke je chlonin der rugat smor je shegalik khol chlonin maar hier gaan en is en dag gaan on cheese of vumse ach bucket work ulachkesen schachat der gali gekesen is mor je she dagita gaan nog gewakkie Agus jou zich musje van de sin genoring gaat dag aan nog een week deine gin sinne wie an James de Choirstaidh es het cardis na daibh an dachaí.
Yeah.
Agus sinna bhá go bhfuil Gaeilge go chláinín go hanádroch schaadro Gaeilge chaadro film tro bhíanana Gaeilge tuchas a bí sin sé ilusáid sé cogúnach bheit sin a rain sin mar cheolach agus thuad at tór móras. Agus ha mi sin is fein tór mór a bhí machchas a bhí fécin súl idir bhar sinne bríine nniu trona súla nachgasan.
She would preach a shin, and I know everybody that's like me that didn't have that opportunity to grow up in a Gaelic house or a bilingual house. Oh, that is our dream, that we would have had that when we were wee. We would have soaked it all up and we didn't have to work hard. Ha mis muine gré had to bring your avishtachu, normalization of a language. Agus shivrit uavas a kudrumach sin. Gevele ferachkin avishtach that we can jump from English to Gaelic and it feels very, very normal. Agus na hashin a coit tachartas ma heachcin na Gaelic gin farich dúne go bhfuil áteann gai pein gin gavat shalov idir Gaelic. Kirsty, I know obviously, particularly when you grow up in an urban environment, you are surrounded by English or many other languages that are not Gaelic. What do you do to really find a place for that language in a modern world, in an urban environment? What would you suggest to anyone out there that's like, oh, I'd like to use my Gaelic, I just don't know where to start?
I think that so when you're sort of talking about like branding and all of that boring, pretentious stuff, you always talk about USP. So what's your unique selling point? And it's always about finding your niche and always about finding what it is about you that makes you different from someone else. I think growing up in Gaelic medium education, when you're 9, the thought of being different from other children makes
waffle.
It's the worst thing you can think of. But as you get older, I was always creative. I was always kind of colourful and a bit strange and all of those things. And as I got older, I realised that was where my strength was, and that was where all of my skills are, my creativity. And so if I clach Gaelic acum nuair a hami a gianú oper Ellain agus mar sin ars, sé sin a bhí cúd a níseacham leis a Ellain agus a níseacham leis Gaelic a chéile agus sin an dói ha fáin corman agus a hulacal sin. I wouldn't have any of the opportunities that I've gotten recently to have a children's art program in Gaelic on telly. Like, that wouldn't happen if I didn't have Gaelic. You don't just get hand opportunities like that without the niches that you have. So it's exploiting the things that make you weird. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. I guess she written in Gaelic, Haggart had in Còmhradh. I mean, you can have a room full of people that are as different as could be a Gaelic ac in I guess mar sin, how ferach can give a yol chore as an chug sin mar ha. Agnes did ha dunya chin hook of an gausen yon and Lewis, dunya ha gieri Gaelic a chleachgu ach stoch nach na comison ach gehas. Gina Mollian a hack of shit. Stoch like haar Jeffrichten that a how al na narin your Gaelic sa ha sa val voord nyo an na ik nachel canon.
Kan je some velach Jeffrichten sin gin se feeling ut joy ha mis mé geri rotus mission honi country daine sé na big lish gost fiache. Agus ge céideoch na big georí lish gal for thing. Never apologize. It's this kind of get it right stuff which really gets my goat, because I've never considered myself to be either a purist in terms of using the language. I've never considered myself to be particularly prejudiced to people who don't have the language. Really, as far as I'm concerned, it's about using the language, and especially for somebody who wants to use their few phrases that they've picked up. Mating va, eintje va. Well, mating va, eintje va. Supposing that's all you've got to say as you start, that's brilliant. And we've got a wee guest house along the road from where I live here, and the couple who now run it, they came from Nottinghamshire, and they were really keen that they would have, they recognised the USP, Kirsty. Absolutely, they recognised what they had to offer. So they really got going, learning about the place, learning about the history, but also recognizing that history ties into a living language. And so, how to pronounce the place names and encouraging their guests to, kind of understand what they look at when they kind of take a walk down to the shore and this kind of thing. So sometimes you've got to see it through their eyes. You've got to see it through the eyes of people who don't necessarily have what you have. But absolutely, I encourage people to not be afraid to try it. And particularly people who have young families. I really admire people who take a step when they have no Gaelic themselves, but who recognise that there is something really special about Gaelic medium education. So I totally encourage anybody to go down that road. No question, because what they come out of it at the end of the day, as we heard Kirsty describe, as I've heard my own girls described, as I've seen so many people over the years that I've worked with, young people who come with a multitude of skills, of which being able to speak Gaelic is the icing on the cake that makes it, that's what makes it different. That's what allows you to do. Sometimes it allows you to do the things that others can't do.
Yeah. Absolutely. I guess an important thing as well is not to be afraid of asking questions and trying your Gaelic out. Joining case, Kenyam go Fertin Hutchinakam, a cash and Doomson that I've accomplished. I like to ask a lot of questions and I like to force people to talk to me as much as they can. But for me, that was how my Gaelic got better. And I actually found as long as I was polite and, I never was trying to tell somebody they were wrong or I just wanted to know more, I actually found people were really responsive in that ways. And I think there can be maybe sometimes a wee bit of a trepidation to be asking native speakers because it feels like that you maybe feel like you're being a wee bit rude or being a bit insensitive. But actually, I've always found that people might not know why they were saying what they were saying, but I could use it as a reference point. And I've always found speakers to be so receptive and so helpful. And even if they just told me, you're wrong, you can't say that, I could then go and find out why not, and I could work it out from another way. I guess Shona Nic'Illeinnein Gaelic Únsacha garain Usacudgeach, I guess Gàidhlig Director nat bheithe obrach ag sár árstíre. I guess get a céim a sin. She ruth mór a haun if you fedach gin Gnúrige sinna dhéanamh cimir do goide sa bí a coite seo gra op a bhealm sa sinna dhéanamh ach chaile leis an cimir a ricas miní de sin. Dé bhálach de gaibh?
Oh, sin a mis mini ha imig slí a naun agus go ire bheit sin brín na betré mé an an dói gorucha seo se go ire ha krapstara ar a bheann nach ró se slia sillier leimtenach son ina bhícha bheith gúnsach na Gaelic mur a roiid dulgu can all-high college a leimten cuasa lentenach agus sin rút a rein meise ha meise go slíte bheit mé Gaelic a háiseach san all-high a charó cumas bríanach am ítir bheit mé na searric scríbig agus lévig agus bheit mé son muskillen an jaarstach. So haimi go slíte bheit mé go per Ceannard Gaelic Finishing School. Agus
That's measure.
Bheit mé déise le an all-high is har a clúacham sa dé bheit mé son a dhéanamh, so raimi cogúnig héit mé go slíte son bliana. Son skillen Gaelic acham an jaarstach bheit uiacham is a canon bheit Gaelic ag mahar get nach roe gebrien bheit mehennever smanti vi geïtsen brin Gaelic ri hele bheit brin Gaelic ri se hu en an dói imime gunje an lise se echt drino coolter sin agus so heimigus leetje van mi go per an Molenbeek de grotal agus bí dunje na China keinig eer voelen sin agus bheit dunje gema teichgol go. Sin so mar a bhah héine gra ha dunje son gom big tú sedvachel heit son teich go chomórúse agus bheit dunje an sin a bheit goper is a voelen week a bheit gema teichgol go agus bí dunje nes brimi a gap gap year, rain mis a gap decade, and it's later. A hard, Yunsach mi tor skillen, ha vi gama female, ach Còmhradh sin faran de hook mi Huj Gaelic, agus ha sin dorsen osglig go, an an imig dói, ha naim dírach in bei oprach, ach a vi canjach ag ridúne, agus mar a hús dú na betrea, how ferchen kel du kutganele ek a vil Gaelic, get na helu jolach ora, ha kel aun, agus a mis minne ha me tar gunje a chanjachig, skaz gun de hook mi Gaelic, agus ha kormen a viaun, go socialte, and ek oper, just so mar sin, ha mi Jenna Fuhr, or ha mi tolliste son the dún ha gúnsach an Nestle speak Gaelic agus ní mi promo garage and shaw or son sin, or han tamasoun gun bí slí a lentenach le céimen in sellier son a vi rúksin filintach tro speak Gaelic agus sé garas nach eel a viaun. Agus a mis minnig a hule dunje Gaelic a júnsach mar innevich ha slia eterieliste a viachke son a virúksin skillen mar a hachke an dú ach le speak Gaelic ha sin a feichen gevil kormen aun son a vi leinten koerse a ha gema latcher agus kielach agus torst dunje a recht kémer chéim. So yeah, ha sin uavasach ma agus mis minnig lei sin hi fatte werk dunje gefielintachas. So sin a hand sa mi sin.
No, gin Jacob. And if there is anybody out there that thinks, oh, I would love to be where Shona is right now, check out Speak Gaelic, check out Learn Gaelic, the website. I mean, Duolingo is an amazing free tool, and Speak Gaelic, Learn Gaelic, these are all free. You're able across now the globe to learn Gaelic, to listen to the podcast, to download the teaching materials. Everything is there. Agus na be of Jews. If you're thinking, I'm a wee bit shy, take that opportunity. Nisha, Chiluch Seachdain Gaelic, just we're not going to be here too much longer, but just returning to Seachdain Gaelic. This is the opportunity for everyone out there to get involved. I'm not sure if I even mentioned the dates of this at the beginning, but it's the 21st to the 27th of March next year. Smershin ha micheir mias and Rob. You have about 4 months to prepare for how will you take part. Agus had daru ekin nimmer seo troncheachgin be program je hachartasan official aking agus héit sin a churtoi an an comparation agus le buinen Gaelic ach cúideach le company and le imig sure sa root ach cúideach ha sin géri gun fiocht dúne as na choirsteach an cúideach ri Portugal an an dói a ricras or a hain. And for me, this is the most important thing of Seachdain Gaelic, is that there is no wrong way to get involved. Yes, there will be an official programme of events, and these are going to be more, I guess, formally timetabled in that they will be executed in partnership with other organisations. But also, this is the you get a chance to get involved moment, because we are looking for folk to, I guess, look at their own lives and think, how can I take part? So it doesn't matter if you're a fisherman in Barra or a school teacher in Glasgow, or you've got absolutely no Gaelic at all and you live in the States. How are you going to take part in Seachdain Gaelic? Do check out our website. There's lots of information there, seachdain.gaelic.scot, and it's spelled in Gaelic. So it's your Seachdain, Seachddainn, Seachdain, then N-A, and Gaelic, spelled in Gaelic, Gaidhlig. There is an English and a Gaelic version on there, so you've got there on Gachcan and Mahokrishiv. But have a think now about, you've got 4 months, how do you take part in Gaelic? And you can add your own events also as part of the week. So it might be that you're organising something actually already, and you could look at that and think, well, how could I add more Gaelic to that? It could be a community event. It could be your normal work. If you're answering that phone, can you pick it up and say, Matin va, as Agnes was saying earlier, when you're putting it down, how are you going to get involved? Maha Gaelic Akav Kudjach. cymryd y sŵr i gaif taich gychyd ri fioin ag na chile yn can and cymryd y sŵr i gaif barach Gaelic gychyd na dy fe helwaigol. There are so many options here and ways to get involved. A Kirsty, ma ha fioin ook gehari chawn agus toch gyflet a coed eir wel Cymryd ha mysio dyle yen o sio. Cymryd ha mi dyle iach ni Gaelic a frosnach agus yn iersdach na ma fe helwaigol li amas stocha an een keer mias en like beat nam paars je hiach in Gaelic. Je voldig tu. Hij is get every two of us a farshin ha show. Ach ja. Je sjors a studig. Weet ik tu doch goed je ha verdag geen ik nach al misneach na heel klaarkig na Gaelic en dos en draastig.
Ha mis mention jirig toshig vi is mention je en rita ha sorgje mem jense. Je surin gosa gra, o bimisha Gianu ruta sho, agus surin gosa ga Gianu an Gaelic, gus, tuliuch dunje vo een Choirstaidh Gaelic, a feinistach an hobby nionach a hakamse, agus kujach kemera vis, kemera surin gosa bua je chud a hobby a shen, gus, look na Gaelic, agus, how can I mix up my different worlds? Am is munchin. I guess girach toshig and drasta if you janu brushig suicide dual and go I guess.
I guess can you draw root there's absolutely nothing wrong with going, okay, I'm maybe a wee bit rusty, but I've got time to plan and improve, I guess. Share a Gaelic vrichten a Gaelic sa hichte, men a chanazat. And it's probably important just to flag up. But if I'm going to betray, ik check in de Gaelic verach geen ha teichel. I can do forsnach and door sin teich forsna Gaelic. Agus geveel overhorn could you have be cruche korm an opbrach korm an clachi dogun ile. Agus I shouldn't ha Shona for who forsna Gaelic geveel sin overs och kudermach. Ha da griach kudjach and koshna shachkinja, and it's probably a good time just to flag up for people that are two different jobs which are on our website currently being offered as part of Shachna Gaelic. Oped ha driach Anderson rianatar for an administrator mar sin ma ha ui akif itcher an an opert in charge sin agus stoch bevelv a vi goper call the rinya ag Shachna Gaelic skip a gama beka hunninach Galmission gaik ver sin gemaldoch jinkeenach an tulshiv idan lados gun koitshiv edition. So if you'd like to be involved in that kind of practical side, there is a job opening now that runs from January all the way through into April for an administrator. Ach kudjach son kudjagin of his a cruach suspenge eth nemian and socialte. So also we are looking for a social media content creator. Idhiest ha an operation dolva nuljach gana yedden 4 months of work for anybody that is interested in that. Chalikshiv less of a goper isn't the reaction, man. You do not need to have any you don't need to be doing that already, but if you're interested, hator fistrihi iraladach, please do have a wee nosy at that. Lots of information about both jobs in there, and I think you've got about 3 weeks to have we think about it, stick an application in. Ach for who for Gaelic is van 2 vacancies it Shona. Je ho kudermach sa hai, gevil sin a fiach in ri 3 ure, korm en oprach ure a chruachig, ansvil chanen en canen riatanach.
Well, ha gyma cwtrymach or ha sin geri gymbig Gaelic avistiochig. Agus se union y doin of his sin a tachirst, gymbig barach sherivishin, no griavachasin, a rui trevi in the Gaelic, a lyrig sherivishin, no Janavrutin is a Gaelic, agus a Kurish economy, ach kutchach gymbi dunia feichen gewil loch en een skillen Gaelic a varach wie maar farsten kultur ha gema prischel ach actually ha boonach genoun a hoef kruchig driachken no a wie Jennifer de Vioslange en een grieviges horrigan so mis minige han daaruit goperigele kurigele maar ha een in economy Gaelic fas has een jerstige ganen ha een jerstige in economy kutchach agus ha torsbar corman de gunje gusongnacha oigri ha chin tro fulham tro na Gaelic, trovina Gaelic, agus gyfer Gaelic dyrach afastach am ismynach. Sin a route is good trinach.
Sé, go Jacob. Agus I'm sure Agnes, particularly in island communities, getting these jobs, which aren't office specific, you can be doing them from home anywhere, that they're especially important, that you are able to create opportunities for people young and old to be using their Gaelic in a professional capacity.
Absolutely, Joy. I think the more that people realise, people of all ages, and certainly young people who are at a stage of making decisions in their life that might or might not lead to particular jobs, the more jobs that there are available, the more that the kind of jobs that are available that show the ability to speak Gaelic, to use Gaelic as a real advantage, the more that people will be encouraged to use it and get back to, as Kirsty was saying earlier, revisit what she had in school but had kind of allowed to get, probably allowed without any kind of desire to lose Gaelic. That wouldn't have been how it would have happened. It would have been, I can well imagine, just not having the opportunity to use it. But the fact that you use it and you use it in any and every opportunity is hugely important. So in the islands where jobs and job opportunities are so often the reasons that young people in particular are forced to look elsewhere, and then in leaving the community, they leave everything that the community represents too behind, and that's it's where that disconnect happens that is really unfortunate. But I think it's also important, and I think Kirsty has expressed it really, really well earlier on. Having Gaelic and being able to speak Gaelic and understanding what this thing Gaelic is when it's part of you're part of your DNA, doesn't mean to say that you've got to, with all due respect to the weather lady with us, you don't have to be, on a television screen. You don't have to be on radio. You don't have to be a teacher in order to be able to use your Gaelic and benefit from having Gaelic. You can work in the arts, as Kirsty's doing. You can do all kinds of things. And, people who work in health and care, people who work as fishermen, it doesn't really matter what you do. If you have this in your toolbox, along with everything else, then it's as important as any of the other tools.
Absolutely. And my, I guess, first memory of hearing Gaelic, because my parents weren't speakers, was hearing normal folk, just talking in the community. And that's what I wanted to be part of. Yes, it's lovely to get to do stuff that, sometimes can be a bit more glam or exciting. But actually, the most important thing is this Còmhradh. It's the communication. It's being part of something. And particularly with the upcoming census, Shona, I guess this is a really good time to actually start thinking about returning to Gaelic and seeing yourself as a speaker of whatever level that will be.
Absolutely, Joy. I think it's really important that people recognise that they have Gaelic skills. And it's not just those people who are using it all the time in work and at home who are Gaelic speakers, because if we're going to get a picture of what's happening, it's really important people recognise themselves as, do they use Gaelic? Do they speak Gaelic to some extent? Do they write it? Do they read it? And I think we're quite, we have a tendency to kind of go, oh no, that's not me.
Yeah.
And I think there is strength in saying, oh yeah, that is me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am part of that community, that really important community, wherever you are and however you participate in it. So yes, I noticed that earlier about the timing of this is just the census next year is in March. This is at the end of March. So I think that will actually contribute to people's awareness and thinking about Gaelic being part of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important that people recognise that.
Absolutely. Agus páis an bheith an dóid a ricras or a hín. Agus bí sin Jeffrichte gan a thula duine agus chan drochhrút a sin. Agus haís gro duine uadan an sinúcim sa gra ó chad rain me se galig is a scol or chad rain me full am galig. Ach siad an join ik ro galig vria glwastar as pa me fiach na raru chan lús a féimach fullm. Ach wat ik gra ó chan go galig a skrifig. Smir sin chan me chom ma ri kuja genile. Agus há fiach bhacho dyrimh gása, lís gyda sin a rwta befríise le gása, gyda an canan sin achgus, na cumas an cain sin achga, agus stoch nach rot hén y tŵg sin bwlach, y nierst ha, am sy'n iwnsach eich sin y yfu, van een gloei maar gymbieg. Agnes, maar maar van mijn grane betraaien, hou ga voorstenach, wie fuddag, aan een choirstaidh halwaan galig. Je volg toe, de gunje, avestjach, ha gieri barach galig af lechkig, na behe weichel.
Oh, vi ga brín. Vi ga brín. agus a bhí lara go cholasíoch Shona brín. Agus ha mis mé ba díomh rota bheit seoán go rós cúdaith na Gael go sin dromhógáil. Agus bheit sinna céolach na níige déanaisteach fiúsad imil Còmhradh ag nach rogálig nó nach ró céinteachas. Ma bheit tugus a bína daidin rogálig ag na nach ró bá an orsin a dalco, well, man ró céinteach fána bearsmeine nach ró. Agus ma bhaus mé nach ró bhacha má gan chultaine cin bríne sa galig. Is a bheola go leisca. Is sin gan a bheola. So, default position hedig gan a bheola. Agus ha mis mé hocail sin in níos tórcránna gan chan tugus a bí ha sin mar géine a bhí róbhógáil. Agus ha mis mé in niu gomaid. Mis mé in niu gomaid bhfuil daoine de seola bhí a bhí ma sé míhógáil chan stríis chan mis mé mí bhógáil a hán, chan mis mé gal daoine fiachan de bhí míhóga a cha ma géin a bhí fáil cin misneáil ma géin de chan an héin, sa bhí misneáil an a cúteoch agus ma chan is cúte gin nóir ó ha me tulich chan me gar tic sin nó chan me gar lienting nó bút gin mar son. Well, nóir níomh is an cúteoch. Ach sé, ma heid me sé gan a bhú sé default agam sa bríne sa galig. Ma heid a jiffer na an níise ha bhú na an steorna bheith agus gomí orsta noch aniu a sinna céolach an steorna bheith go matrí chanel níidir sé bhfuil brín cumasach a brín galig. Ach sé áráit. Is het chalig sin leis a bhfuil amach a chéile ma dhé. Is gan an a fenad se an bisich chan me dóhás gwyn trot. Chan ránach, right, oké, ma ha jaid. Ha sin snog. Agus nan dyrch a dding geceideoch na dyrch a dding i fi an ta jósta na a gan jósan far yn brínig ding i raum as a galig. Sa siot o'r as go láchen njöitioch a gyhua sin an dielanir mae'n trúd ac ein. Ef am eisiau mi hyn, eisiau weitris a fwn am an dielanir mae'n. Agus na minstoch altyd na huad mi an y tips ag jydig biog is gag yn frin mi snog. Sarw me fatig tig sin grwysyn gofyn a chwtioch ag. Agus charwaid mi tor ag ra. Charwaid ach a fi snog rydynnu. Agus fym me grach a byrwt o fasyn mis pan bysyn ysmynioch ag edrych ef gwrsion y fi'n ysmynioch ag ed. Ach, is yn diolch ag sy'n fal o chawn.
Good Jacob. Agus sé bh tip a bharach go thuir sinúla ha bhís muideach a glís galig a sin leachgig. Kirsty, I think we all know the situation where you're maybe not feeling so confident using Gaelic amongst your friends or in your work. And I know you said that you took lockdown as that opportunity to just start with wee captions in Gaelic. Ach, a meisc do charit sin héin. Cimmer, Dé volg tú doúine a bevá Gaelic chnach an kuch carriage nach a ferach gin be an dúch mi géin.
Ha mis munsin ha mi hins mo garrigen er vi bruin son blianichen. I guess blianichen. Me yin, oh, we need to have a wee conversation group and we need to do this and this and this. Ha mis munsin vi dolku, concerts at mar sin a rurst, I guess. Ma ha geharit ma ha siúdal son, Colin Q Gaelic eichgin. Rytyn mar sin a vi yn sas am sa chwlter Còmhradh sé ryd sgynnial a ha sin son a vi fosglwch suas na darsan a sin. Ha is mention kuja collaboration, ha sin cho mór sa bhí ach am hín an dráasta agus a bhí a chantín, stocha channéile project a ha sin gopadir stocha channe, me dhéon Gaeilge a hae ach ha fisam go bhfuil Gaeilge acatsa agus ha Gaeilge acamsa agus ha sin dul a bhí a gopar cána agus, va mi hígus kujigan bo Colin Cool of mi Janu Operialine a hon blianú a garas fashion gra we're helping the Gael economy. So it in mar sin agus a bhí gra, sturing gaim na emails akin you could at Ashterert on a Gaelic agus mar sin. Agus a bhí tosha project in Colma agus a gra, sé project Gaelic a hasho. Agus yn rhaid haidioch natydd fi brwyn an yn Gaelig. Ha carach yn acam sydd o'n sgol a hamiedd o bercol na reis hari siar na mias yn asio. Agus haidioch nionach yn asio fi brwyn an yn berla reis. Haidioch, hasin i grafo, this is kind of like our secret language. This is kind of like this is what we speak when we work together. So,
Agus Guy and Karsha Shina had a hug. Most of us have learned as an adult have had to do that language switch, and it is really hard at the beginning. Ach, Baker Vake, Hike, agus an Lord sin ha mochel gyfil gra, Ruth Baker shit sa show, agus gydawn trona Gaelic chavod a ha códa Christian agus she Joe Horley has said, it's a NicArtair Shona. If there is anybody who's watching that thinks I would love to take part in Ceannard Gaelic, and speaking of the Gael economy in particular, but maybe I need a wee bit of help, whether it's financial or maybe it's more practical than that. Hais gyfil tor gyda'n Bóirse Gaelic agus go bhfuil gnúirín gaobhse dúine stúrich fiús do bhuiin mirahil Bóirse Gaelic hain fricarach son an cuideach an dóid sin.
Ha go déireh joy mis muineach ha skimich in teich gacinne agus ha fairú foscailte go songlite san buine is a choirsnach. So ma haid son rút gynna dhéanamh a mis muineach ha sin foscailte an drásde. Agus cuideach larich lín éile dhéh mar éisimpla ha stú larich lín immers na Gaeltach larich lín hai son teiche chumol rí gríomhachasan a ha son clachach na Gaelic is na gríomhachasan nachge agus an unseirse rút ag Visit Scotland. Ha san son teich go chumol rí gríomhasan a bhí nearstacha clachach na Gaelic. So ma ligus duine fiscain, suringain, teich na cóla horsgaibh dúach catchum fight garasan ile.
Agus ha godasan agus etiquette go leor. So do take that opportunity. Particularly, you have currently a funding stream for community groups open. So Shona Nic'Illeinnein, Nabby of Jews, don't be shy. Do check out what is out there, the opportunities that could be achieved. Agus gahani leis bhfuil céir mías an rámh has ha únig go leor agus múnig éiad. Shona Nic'Illeinnein son fiscar an dú ach bhhealm sa teich agus teing a chur gan trúr a bhír uach Shona Nic'Illeinnein, Kirsty Garster agus Agnes Rennie, trúr a bhodanach, biachgal, sudavachal comasach agus apar gynta cat misneach gosa a bhí diana barach son na Gaelic gahari as na miasan a ha roin. Cainichiv, please do remember that Ceannard the Gaelic will be happening 21st to 27th of March 2022. Agus ha achan ganahula dunya. There really is a place for everybody to celebrate Gaelic, to look at how they fit in. Smersin Nabby of Jude, please don't be shy. Tor fistiki kujach an ládach lín, me Núnsach na Gaelic, Goodison, Stewed. Take a wee while to have a nosy around the website. It does link to others that are very helpful with learning Gaelic or with using your Gaelic, the Cleachí initiative. Everything that is out there. Agus héis tar físrihi a bharach a chur in a ládach cuideach an na núine nach bí fata. More information will be coming on the website, particularly about the official programme events in the next wee while. Smersin cumh close ri clasneach. Do keep your ear to the ground. Ach wamsa Dunlop, thank you so much for listening to us chatting today. Yennev Sheen Eithne and social at SN Gaelic, GAIDHLIG. We'll be keeping our social media busy in the next week while with lots and lots of information. Agus vi óvas os nog clúin vuv could you skrive an Gaelic in your answer. Don't be shy. Go online, say hello in Gaelic or English or a mixture of the two, whatever works for you, because this is all about taking ownership of the language, celebrating the language in whatever way works for you. Agus ha mi cínteach an clúin sin tuliach man teachcin agus mahor ile an sanúne nach bí fata. Ach wumsa, joy Dunlop, tapal vula. Thank you all very much once again for being with us. Agus bí sin na brína díist ag eichid. Cheery.